Congratulations. You found the Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck.
Very well. Where do I begin?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Reach for this one.
And now, a real hit show.
Well, life isn't that simple.
Live from the Twin Cities.
Fear and love are the deepest of human emotions.
There are other things that need to be taken into account here, like the whole spectrum of human emotion. You can't just lump everything into these two categories and then just deny everything else.
It's the Twin Cities Hit Show.
What exactly did you say to Miss Farmer?
I'll tell you what he said. He asked me to forcibly insert the Lifeline exercise card into my anus.
Let's get this hit show started.
She said anus.
That part confused me.
Yeah?
You should never insert the life lesson into your anus?
Yeah, that seems like there are other orifices where you could put a life lesson.
I thought it was just because you were like, where else would you put a life lesson?
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Courtney nailed it. That was courtesy of Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake Gyllenhaal, for being part of the Open.
I did.
Nice.
I did like that movie a lot.
Can you explain it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
There
are, if you go on the YouTubes, there are people who try to explain it because it's very out there. There is no clear-cut explanation of what is going on.
I had a friend who mapped out the entire movie and was like, well, since this happened, then that means that this was here and blah, 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 and you're like, what? No.
Did you ever hear about the movie Harvey with James Stewart where he had an invisible rabbit that only he could see?
Yeah.
This is like a very twisted riff on
Harvey, right?
On Harvey.
Yeah.
His name is Harvey. Harvey.
Well, sure.
Is that John Wayne? What are you doing there?
Oh, Brad Erickson. Why aren't you back here doing your
Sorry. No, it's actually not too bad.
Thank you.
You guys were doing the comedies last night.
Oh, comedies are so
we
fun.
Had the laughs,
you were doing the comedy
LAFFs.
thing.
Yeah. What a great room. The
VFW
VFW
it was a
in
lot
Uptown.
of fun.
Yeah.
So we were at the VFW in Uptown, next to the Herkimer in Minneapolis, and it was
Herkimer?
like the Herkimer, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great set of comics. Everybody was really funny.
Yeah.
And Isaac Whitty was there.
Isaac,
he showed up for that.
He performed.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you accosted him last night. Explain why.
Hey guys, this is Chuck, and I'm here with comedian Isaac Whitty, who was suspiciously missing last week. Isaac, what was going on?
I was abducted. It's fine. It's fine though. I'm not even worried about it anymore.
Abducted? That sounds scary. Well, unless it was aliens.
Kind of. It's a half truth. I'll see you soon. I'll come by later. I gotta go.
Get back here!
Awkward. So the truth is, we were supposed to be on our Friday show. You were in Boston. You had booked him, and Courtney and I are blaming you. But then we just called Isaac a dick, which ultimately...
which just made us feel better.
Yeah,
as
shaming
it
works.
does.
Shaming works.
He slept in.
Yeah.
We were taping at noon.
Yeah.
Dude has got quite the life.
We were taping. That was live.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Magic
That's true.
of
That's
the
true.
podcast.
Oh, the wizard behind the curtain.
No, we're live right now, though.
Yeah,
and
this
I'd
is
like
true.
to say one thing.
We're live.
Good morning, Baltimore.
Oh my God.
Every night is a fantasy.
Well, I don't know if it's a fantasy these days lately.
Sounds like it was a fantasy last night.
The 10 o'clock curfew.
What is this song?
You've never heard this?
No.
Hairspray, the musical. Get with it. I thought this would be right up your wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm not familiar with Hairspray. The
Hairspray.
musical. But you are not wrong in that this would be in my wheelhouse.
She's a hippie. She doesn't believe in hairspray. All natural.
Well, she's a theater person, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But still, the products, promoting
I was
products
more
like
into the musical Hair.
Ah, okay.
No, I don't know. Anyway, so Baltimore.
So their 10 o'clock curfew went into effect last night, and much better. There were fewer arrests. I don't think there were any fires, but there were a lot of angry people in Geraldo live in the middle of it as the curfew was going into effect. Check this out.
We are grown heads. Hey, Sean, it's a very excited crowd where I am standing right now as the deadline has come The deadline has come, and now we will see if the people clear. I'm with the state Senate Majority Leader, Pugh. Come on, get out of the way, man. Get out of the way.
Don't touch me.
Well, you
I didn't touch
stop
you.
blocking my camera. Stop blocking my camera. Come on. Come on, stop it.
It's a big guy. Geraldo's looking
Stop
up
it.
to this guy.
You're making
He wants
a
to
fool of
hit him.
yourself. You're making a fool of yourself. You calm down. Just stop it.
Wait a minute.
I mean, it was dangerous.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But how? Great news, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, the lights on and he's in the middle. They're all violating the curfew at this point. Even Geraldo, but he's using his journalistic badge to do it. So the Senate Majority Leader, the local politicians there said, "You got to move. You are actually inciting this. You got to move." So ultimately, they did move. But for a second there, I thought the guy was going to clock Geraldo. And Geraldo's a former pugilist, former boxer, and he's got a gigantic ego. So he at first was like, "Oh, you want to go?" You could see it if you look at the YouTube clip. You can see it in his face.
Yeah.
But then the guy stared right back like, I don't give a damn about live television. I will knock you out. And then you saw fear in Geraldo's eyes, like, ooh, this might be a mistake.
Yeah.
Geraldo
But
strikes
that was incredible.
Geraldo strikes me as a guy who could not check his tempers. This does not surprise me. I'm impressed he got through without getting killed.
All I remember is Geraldo getting that chair thrown in his face.
Yeah,
like
that
2
happened
decades
too.
ago.
The neo-Nazis with his talk show.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, the white supremacists. Yeah, and they got into a melee.
And his vault. Let's not forget his
Good
incredible journalistic piece about the vault.
Yeah,
Al Capone's vault.
that was a huge watched special, and it opened up to nothing.
Well, let's cut to commercial for the next 2 hours.
Jon Stewart had comment last night too on the riots. Now, the first part of this, I'm going to play a little bit. Does require video, but I think you'll catch what he's doing here with the audio.
To the top story: the lawless, destructive riots shaking our nation. No, those are Kentucky fans. I'm sorry, after losing. The lawless. No, I'm sorry, that's Michigan State fans after winning. No, I'm sorry, that's a pumpkin festival gone awry. Come on, those are just kids blowing off steam with good-natured arson. Yeah, there you go. That's the worrisome. Let's call it urban violence we were looking for.
So he starts with footage from, when colleges win their games, they turn over cards and they riot, which is always stupid. But the video he showed looks like it could have been the horrific scenes out of Baltimore. He goes on, and this is where he takes on Wolf Blitzer, who said something incredibly stupid. Listen to this.
That's once again the combination of an economically struggling inner city and the police force charged with keeping its citizens out of everyone else's view has combusted. Like Watts in Detroit in the 60s, Georgia in the 70s, Miami in the 80s, LA and St. Petersburg in the 90s. These cyclical eruptions appear like tragedy cicadas, depressing in their similarity, predictability, and intractability. Or to put that another way.
Hard to believe this is going on in a major American city right now. This is a scene that a lot of us never anticipated seeing in a city like Baltimore. Hard to believe this is going on, as I keep saying, in a major American city. I don't remember seeing anything like this in the United States of America in a long time.
It gets worse, listen.
Elvis leading a herd of Orthodox Jewish unicorns through a city street, that would be hard to believe. This happens all the time. Ferguson was just a few months ago, and you were talking about it.
It's hard for me to believe that in this day and age, 2014, so many years after Dr. Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement, we're seeing National Guard troops on the street to prevent this kind of violence in this day and age. It's something I didn't think we'd be seeing again.
I am worried about you.
He had just said the same thing in Ferguson. Now it's happening in Baltimore. I don't remember seeing it like this before. And it's like, dude, 5 months ago you said the same damn thing.
That is funny.
So the good news is it was not as bad last night, but there was still, as Geraldo can attest.
I want to back up. I love this, the way Jon Stewart brought the parallel through to the mob mentality that happens after these sporting games.
Yeah.
That's what I've been thinking the whole time.
Never understood that.
I haven't either, but I have to wonder, and I know there's anger about everything going on in our culture and with law enforcement and the issues, but I think that this mob mentality is more at the base of what's going on. I really do, and people are looking for an excuse to be obnoxious for whatever reason.
To get their adrenaline flowing, for excitement, for drama, whatever. Because, when the Gophers won the hockey national title or lost it or whatever, Dinkytown, there were cars burned. Cop car was overturned. And these are white, preppy college kids doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
How could that? It does not correlate. It's weird.
I mean, I think that we will see change come out of this kind of stuff, so it is working in a way.
I think what's happening is a lot of the police force now are going to mandatory body cameras, so that's always going to put the question mark in police officers who may have been sketchy or on the edge. Oh, crap, I'm being documented. So they may be really watching their P's and Q's, which is going to help. And I think all major cities are probably all going to start going to body cameras.
Yeah, I had this discussion with a lawyer buddy of mine 2 days ago, long text discussion. We were talking about the changing culture and the need for cops to remember you're always on video, always, and that did not exist when I started.
Right,
and,
because of cell phones. Yeah.
Right, and now dash cam video's out, and that's somewhat helpful, but not to this extent. But I think the problem you're going to see is that use of force never looks good, whether it's the most righteous, justified use of force. It never looks good, and from a video perspective, it always looks bad, even when it's 100% justified. And the problem is, it's all going to be on video. So I think we're going to see zealous prosecution of law enforcement officers who are doing their jobs and protecting their lives.
I wonder, though. I mean, if there's a guy pulling a gun on someone, I don't think people are going to uproar over the cops taking that person down.
That's not what I'm worried about.
The video that's causing outrage right now is when the video seems to clearly show that violence was not warranted.
Yeah, those aren't the ones I'm worried about. I'm worried about the 60,000 assaults on police officers or use of non-deadly force. And I don't have the numbers; these are off the top of my head. That are used yearly throughout, or that occur yearly throughout the United States, where you tell someone to stop resisting and you use force. The things like happened in New York City with Eric Garner, those kind of things. Now, his was probably a little more over the top because they violated policy, but the point is that similar situation happens where you tell someone you're under arrest. The minute you tell them they're under arrest, they need to comply with all orders. And now we've created this culture where it's okay to say, well, why? Why am I under arrest? Let's talk about this. No, you're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back, and we'll go from there. And that's what's going to happen is those incidents where the cop goes hands-on after saying something like that, and the public is outraged because, he just started beating him. Well, really, in use of force, there's a continuum that's been designed which gives law enforcement a reasonable use of force, which is what we call +1. So let's say someone presents you with fists. You walk in. I'll give you basics on the force continuum.
I think I got you on +1. Like if someone gives you outbid them.
Yeah. So you're allowed to your verbal presence, just your presence is technically a use of force. So if they're not responding to your presence, you can up them by giving them commands. If they are not following your commands, you can up them by going hands-on. If they're not complying when you go hands-on, you can now use a non-lethal weapon like a baton or taser. From there, you can go to the deadly force options. And you don't have to necessarily step up, one. If they present a gun, you can go right to deadly force. If they're huge, if they're 6'5" and you're 5'3", and you're fear for your life, you can use deadly force depending on the situation. So,
but I think the cameras are going to show whether it's out of control or not, or if the guy's being a big dick or whatever.
You would hope so, but I've watched these videos, and as a supervisor in the police department, we used to go through videos all the time. It never looks good. It never, even the most justified use of force.
I have a case personally when I was in college where I was in a scenario and I was able to diffuse the intensity that the security police were having at me. You want to hear this story?
Yeah.
I was because I went to Madison. I was visiting my buddies at the U, and it was a unusually nice autumn evening, and we were running around the campus, not really doing much. There was some art exhibit on display at Northrop or something, so there was extra. Are they police officers, campus police?
Yeah.
We weren't aware of that, but we went to sit in the chairs that were on the on front of the Northrop, and they're all chained down, so you can't rearrange them. And then my one buddy, who's a smart guy, physics guy, he goes, with this chain, we could actually make our own little art sculpture. So we started piling up the chairs, and the chains were holding them into place, and we were making like this huge triangle. And suddenly, here were the jingle jangle of keys and a flashlight and a 3 or 4 guys. Hey! And we're like, run! So the 4 of us ran, and the physics guy was a track person, so he was like, later, Biro. He's gone.
Yeah.
So me and my
You
other...
started this. Get back here.
The other guy who played football, he was right after him. Meet you back at the house. Husky Rusty and the other guy, we're trotting together, we got to split up. So he goes one way, I take another way, and I just dive into a bush. And keep in mind, I have like a bright pink Izod shirt on,
of course
in
you do.
shorts and Docksiders. I see him get tackled knees to the back. They are pissed that they had to run after us, and they appeared like guns out. I mean, they were, where's the other guy? And to his credit, he's like, I don't know where they've been. So I'm like, and I'm shivering in this bush about 5 feet away, 6 feet away. The lights come over to me, and I'm like, hi, hello, awkward. So now I peel myself out of the bush. Hey funny
guys.
story.
We talked this out.
And they're all like, on the ground. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to get on the ground. Okay, we weren't doing anything. I just saw what you did. This is really silly, guys. If you just let me on the ground, I'm like, no, I'm not going to get. This is so misunderstanding. We're not. And they calmed down, and I never had to get on the ground.
Wow.
And I was like, look at me. We didn't steal it. I just talked it through, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, well, there's expensive stuff. And then I'm like,
so don't do that again.
Yeah. You want us to go back and put the chairs back?
Do you think the same thing would have happened if you were a black man?
No.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or if I was dressed in a dark hoodie or something. I was dressed like I was dressed fabulous.
See, and I disagree. That's where I disagree. And even going back 20 years, because I got in so many arguments with black dudes about this stuff. And I told you, Courtney, off air about the time that I sat and debated with a guy that we had pulled over and said, you just stopped me because I was black. I'm like, no. And my partner's like, okay, we're out of here. I'm done with this. I'm like, no, we're going to talk this out. And we stood 15 minutes roadside and discussed it.
But that's you. And there, as it's been evidenced, there are loads of racist cops. And cops are, the police officer, there are tons of great apples. I have a cousin who's a cop, but it's like, and obviously she's a great apple because she's McLean. But it's also like that's the kind of career that attracts power trippers and attracts people who want to be in control and want to be in charge. But you
have to be. That's the thing.
People,
and I got disagree with you on loads. They're out there. I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
And obviously, the more visible minority is going to attract the attention, as it has. But even if you're not a power tripper, you're going to become one because you are not going to be effective unless you know how to apply power, and you come off as a dick. And in your situation, that wouldn't have ended that way for me. You're not going to talk your way out. Once you've run, I'm not chasing you a second time, and I don't know why you're running. And, they might have been security too. But
that's true.
Had I been a cop.
I think they were university cops. Is that a different level of?
Well, no. If they were cops.
They're cops.
I think
they're cops, but
they sensed my energy and they started to hear what I was saying, and they were like, "Okay, what the hell, guys? You're a little old to be doing this."
Yeah.
We're like, "No, we're not. We're 20."
Who knows? That's the thing is like, who knows like what kind of variables, because as Chuck was just saying, like if you're running, I don't know why you're running. That's the thing. It's the context. It's like, you guys were just putting these chairs together, but who knows if you were high on some sort of weird drug?
Yeah.
Cops don't know that. And like,
or what the call came in as.
Or what the call came in as.
Burglary in progress, or
they would have seen 4 idiots stacking chairs into a cool looking. It was a diamond-shaped thing.
So to be
it was
like
awesome. It was like,
did you get a picture?
No, we worked on it, but no, we didn't.
Yeah.
But they listened finally, and I'm convinced they sensed my energy and that there was like, okay, yeah, what is going on here? We
Yeah.
just were messing with the chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I've always found that
Sorry.
whenever I've been pulled over by a cop, like, just talking to them, telling them the truth. Of course, I'm a white woman. I don't know how much that
You
affects. I know. I dance
Crazy.
like I'm not. But yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Even going back 20 years, I remember I tried arresting a guy. Well, I successfully arrested, but I was a Roseville cop, so we're in the foyer of Rosedale Mall, and he had done something dangerous. So I pulled my pistol and I was holding him at gunpoint, and I'm like, "Get on the ground!" No, man, I just want to talk about this. No, get on the ground. I'm fearing for my life right now. That's
What
why
had he done?
I don't remember what it was. It was obviously a felony level crime or something where he needed to have a gun pointed at him, and he wanted to discuss it.
Was he messing with chairs?
I think he
Right,
was wearing a pink Izod and penny loafers. But I'm like, get on the ground. And I'm thinking, there's a pistol pointing at this guy from 2 feet away, and he will not get on the ground. And he wants to discuss it. And honestly, and this is entirely from my experience, but white people and black people treat handguns very differently. Like, he was not scared.
Yeah.
You do that to a white person, they would first shit themselves, then they would get on the ground, and then they would file a complaint later.
And because of, think of the black communities in our nation compared to white communities. I mean, there's so many more guns in black communities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, black guy sees a gun, he's not going to be as scared of it because he deals with them a lot.
But so what you ultimately get is
generalizations, blanketing.
These are absolute generalizations and based on our personal experiences. But the interesting part to this is that he wanted to debate it, and that's, this is not the time for debate.
Which is kind of what I did though too, and I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Well, before we have to take a break, I want to talk a little bit more about Baltimore. Did you see the video? You don't like this song?
It's so.
It's a joke musical. It's a John Waters film.
Oh, it is?
Are you familiar with John Waters?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm very familiar with John Waters.
It's a silly John Waters.
Yeah.
musical.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
You would like it.
Okay. All
Anyway.
Sorry.
It's supposed to be never mind.
Yes,
if you have to explain the joke, it
contextual.
doesn't work.
Okay, all right.
The Baltimore mom, though. Did you see the video of the mom
No.
who saw
Oh, yes.
his son, or saw her son, and grabbed him and slapped him upside the head? You're going to have to see this video. She yanked his hoodie. He was covered. He had a ski mask on. She saw him throwing rocks at the cops. And so then she went up and grabbed him and yanked him around, started smacking him upside the head several times, and dragged his butt back home. Well,
I think I did see that video.
she is now being celebrated as Mom of the Year in various talk shows and all this stuff.
Oh, my God.
Month, maybe. Mom of the month at best.
And I guess if that was my son Connor, maybe I would be doing the same thing. But anyway, here's a little bit from her.
34 kids were arrested, but not Toya Graham's 16-year-old Michael. She gave him a piece of her mind and a good portion of her hand. Today, Toya Graham spoke to CBS News producer Christina Rafidi.
I could see the objects being thrown at the police, and I was like in the awe, like, oh my God, this is really happening right here with me. And lo and behold, I turn around and I look in this crowd, and my son is actually coming across the street with this hoodie on and a mask. At that point, I just lost it. And he gave me eye contact. And at that point, not even thinking about cameras or anything like that. That's my only son. And at the end of the day, I don't want him to be a Freddie Gray. But to stand up there and vandalize police officers, get over here, that's not justice. That's not what, I'm a single mom. I have 6 children, and I just choose not to live like that no more, and I don't want that for him.
Well, so here's my dilemma. She beat the heck out of him.
She did.
And I wonder what Adrian Peterson thinks of that video.
Oh, yeah.
You know the difference that, and again here I'm with
there
the
is a
stuff.
difference. There is a difference.
You are not allowed to use any kind of instrument to use your child discipline. So using a switch, using a
Could he file assault against his mom?
I don't think so. This what he did.
He's 16.
Yeah, she smacked him like crazy. But you could argue
repeatedly.
Yeah. You could argue that that's parental discipline. The difference is when you use an instrument like a belt buckle or a switch like Adrian Peterson did.
And
but
he could fight back. That could fight back.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny. He was walking around with his hood
If
on.
he hits his mom, she can file.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting discussion, but what we come down to is that cultural difference, and I think that's what Adrian Peterson got caught up in.
The law is the law. There should not be a cultural difference. Was that assault? Could she be charged?
I just don't think in certain, let's say in...
and keep in mind, I probably would smack Connor if I saw him at the U.
Once or twice.
Turning over a cop car. And I've never put a hand on him since he got his spank as a 4-year-old. But if I saw him on campus with a hoodie and a ski mask on, throwing rocks... I probably would stop smacking.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What if he was wearing a boa and high heels and throwing rocks?
Then I'd be signing up for therapy.
I'm guessing the go-to parenting strategy for her is not, listen, Junior, you're going to go to your room, and we're going to talk about this, and there will be punishment, but go wait in your room while I ponder the decision.
Yeah, I guess my first go-to would be to go, dude, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
To talk to him. Now, there was no talking.
Well,
she
and
grabbed
also-
his hoodie and started smacking.
Also, she freaking nailed it when she was like, "I don't want him to be another Freddie Gray." This is what
Right.
parents of color are dealing with, like forever.
Yeah.
But and probably it's just like this mother bear instinct that came out. She went all Sarah Palin. Right? She was like...
Was she speaking in tongues? Was that...
Yeah. Right.
Hey, our guest is here.
Hey, Mercies May is
You got to
here.
talk into that microphone.
Yeah, okay, soul patch and all. Here I am.
Chuck, introduce our
That's
guest.
a huge soul
Mercies
patch.
May,
Thank you.
local filmmaker, national filmmaker, but living or staying locally for his latest project. And born
also
and raised
rap
here.
artist.
Yeah.
Yes, also rap artist.
Hey, have you
didn't
heard
know
what's
that.
going on in Baltimore?
Yeah, I was just catching up. It's great to be here, by the way, in what is probably as close to the Situation Room as I'm bound to get.
Right,
There's monitors everywhere and microphones. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
It is.
This is a real podcast.
Mom of the year or should be
man.
charged with assault?
Well, I think probably you would. To be fair, it seems like you should be able to charge her with assault. But I don't think there's anything wrong with her response as much as choosing to make her Mom of the Year.
Yeah, right.
Well put. Yeah.
I think that thing just seems really weird, like a weird sort of like the press grabbing onto it in that way is what I find disturbing. Not necessarily her reaction, or if to me that thing is irrelevant. That's between them, their family stuff. Gets
You know
heated
who's
sometimes.
really celebrating it is the right. The Rush Limbaughs, the Fox
Yeah.
News.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They are like, yes, hit that child
Yeah.
who happens to be not white.
That thing to me feels like there would be a double standard, like it wouldn't be celebrated if it was a white
Right.
mom or
Oh,
a white dad.
yeah,
Oh, it
absolutely.
absolutely
Yep.
would not be.
But the inference that I take from that is sort of, yes, of course, black children are out of control, so you should have to, if you have to use that sort of force,
Yeah.
which seems anathema
Yeah.
to any sort of logical argument to me
Yeah.
personally.
Well, again, before we leave the subject, very bizarre going on today in the history of Major League Sports.
Oh, yeah.
They are playing baseball today in Baltimore.
Uh-huh.
They had to
Oh.
postpone 2 games.
yeah.
But this game will be played to no one.
Yep.
2 Major League teams, they're not letting anyone in.
Wow.
That is as surreal
Yeah.
as it gets. Here's
I
a quick
wonder how their performance is going to go.
check this out.
So these are strange circumstances, but it's something that has to be done. I talked to Buck Showalter about this with a 7 o'clock
manager of the
p.m.
Orioles.
curfew. 10 p.m. curfew. There's just no way you can play a night game in Baltimore now. So this is probably the prudent thing to do, is just to get a day game in and then leave town.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And you wonder, what about the ushers and the concession people?
Oh, yeah.
Will the organist
Oh, yes.
show up?
You're like an old school. It'd be kind of fun if you're a professional baseball player. I used to love when I was a cop and I'd go work in another city altogether. Same thing. It's like, hey, this is totally different, totally new. It'd be kind of fun, I think.
Completely empty stadium? I don't know. That's
You suppose it
gonna be-
affects the tempo?
Yeah,
Like
you
they play it
wonder.
really slow. They're
Yeah.
much more
Yeah.
cordial
They're
to
like-
one
Yeah.
another.
What time is that on? I might actually
It's
watch
an
baseball
afternoon
today.
game. I think
There-
it's 2:00 our time.
Wow, so they're still, of course, they're still going to
Yeah.
broadcast it. Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that's going to be that
That's
must
science
be so
fiction.
weird.
That's going to be
Yeah.
like science fiction.
I wonder if but that's what I'm saying, affect their performance. Like, I wonder if the players are just going to kind of be a little more chill and be like more focused.
Yeah.
But maybe they just learn to block out all the all the screaming crazy fans.
Now,
Who
was
knows?
that decision made by the administration for the team, or was it
the owners?
Yeah,
because they had I think it was one of the owner's sons had written a letter. Did you guys see that?
No.
About the consequences and said that vandalism is terrible, but for social discourse, this is an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I would hate to try to paraphrase it poorly right now, but it's worth looking up.
What is it? What is it again?
It's I believe it's one of the owners of the team made a statement to the press
about
what's going on in Baltimore.
Yeah, well, I guess with the 10 o'clock curfew, and it was supposed to be a night game, they were like, we're not going to be able to play, and so they said, we'll just do it this afternoon and let no one in.
Regarding schedule changes? No.
No. It had a much sexier title than that.
No, I was thinking about no hot dogs available at this game.
Yeah. So, all right. And then, of course, the president spoke yesterday. Here's just a little bit of what he said. Brief moment.
There's no excuse for the kind of violence that we saw yesterday. It is counterproductive. When individuals get crowbars and start prying open doors to loot, they're not protesting. They're not making a statement. They're stealing. When they burn down a building, they're committing arson. And they're destroying and undermining businesses and opportunities in their own communities.
What do you think, Chuck?
Is he in a bird
he's
atrium?
absolutely right.
Yeah, he's in the Rose Garden.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah.
Do not break things.
He did go on to say that as a nation we have a lot of soul searching to do and that stuff. But he did not back down on the you're stealing, you're not protesting, you're committing arson, you're not protesting.
That's what I get back to. I'm okay with peaceful I am. I participate in that stuff. The problem is you always get the idiots who come in from out of town and go, all right, let's do some shit.
Yeah.
And that there's no excuse for walking off with a free TV because Freddie Gray died.
Hey, did you get your free TV? I know you did a shout-out to the looters yesterday.
Yeah, speaking of which, I want to remind all the looters out there, if tonight I am still looking, I did get a stand for my TV last night. Thank you for that, viewer. I won't mention them by name for an interest of protecting them. But I'm still looking for a 50-inch LCD. So if you guys see that, just grab it. I'll give you a free Shamrock Shake.
Shamrock Shake! I remember that.
Well,
hey, I finally saw the Green Man episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, by the way.
Yeah. It's a very flattering costume.
Yeah. All right, that's all.
So we'll just see what happens tonight in Baltimore. We're going to take a break here, though, right?
Yeah, let's take a break.
And when we come back...
Mercies May film.
And you make movies. We're going to talk about your movies that you're making and stuff.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
These are strange circumstances.
All right, here we go. The break is going to roll.
The Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck will be right back.
Don't let your computer problems drive you mad. We are MacMen, Minnesota's premier tech consultants and problem solvers for Macs, mobile devices, troubleshooting, training, and much more. No more dragging your computer all over town because we come to you. We love making house calls to your home or small business. MacMen. Call 612-345-8005. The Alive and Social Network is alive and growing. From the best in sports, music, movies, and beer, Alive and Social is what all the cool kids click on. Featuring characters like radio rebel Jeff Dubay, Star Tribune pundit Jim Suhan, Unfiltered, and television veteran and handsome man Rusty Gatenby. You can also taste the Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly. Join the band with live band karaoke night from legendary O'Gara's in St. Paul and the live music showcase from Shamrocks. Yes, Alive and Social Network does indeed rock and roll. The Jeff Dubay Show, Jim Suhan Unfiltered, the Rusty Gatenby Review, the Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly, live band karaoke, and Shamrock's live music showcase. Join the fun. Be alive and social with the Alive and Social Network.
Hey everybody, this is comedian Paul Mercurio, and I'm very excited to say that I packed up my podcast, The Paul Mercurio Show, which wasn't my first choice for a name. My first choice was Go Ahead, Touch It, but apparently that didn't test well. Well, I'm taking my podcast and I'm moving it to the Alive and Social Network, which is weird because I'm neither alive nor very social. I've interviewed a few people you might know, like Sir Paul McCartney. Yeah, that guy. He was in a band or something. I'm not sure. Stephen Colbert, Bob Costas, Jay Leno, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kristen Chenoweth, and many, many more. I've won Emmy and Peabody Awards for my work on The Daily Show. I've had my own Comedy Central special, been on HBO, and I'm excited to be part of the new network. The Paul Mercurio Show is available on iTunes, Android, and available at paulmercurio.com. Listen to my show every week. Every week you will get rich. How? I give you a foolproof method to go out and make $100,000 without ever leaving your couch. Okay, that's a lie, but the podcast, it's good.
Hey everybody, this is Isaac Whitty. I'm very sorry for not showing up. I'm a very irresponsible person. You're listening to the Twin Cities Hit Show.
You're listening to the Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck. Say it 3 times fast. We just dare you.
3 more days. 3 more days, Courtney. 3 more days.
I know. And you know what I told Chuck last night? I was like, after yesterday, I was like, but I know.
You didn't like yesterday?
No, I loved yesterday. No, but I was feeling like, am I making the right decision?
No. Absolutely not. 100% not. That's why I wanted to get your mom on the phone. I want your mom on the phone.
We'll get my mom
I want her
on the
to
phone. Yeah.
gang up on you on your last day.
Courtney, you're always making these rash decisions.
Courtney's last day is Friday. She's choosing to leave this beautiful show.
Which you would do why?
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I'm telling you,
Mercies May.
I love this already. I've got Rusty on my right and Chuck on my left. I feel like any decision they could counterpoint.
Yeah,
Angel. I'm not sure which one's the angel and which is the devil.
Yeah, me neither.
I wrote a song for Courtney.
Oh my God.
I can't make you love me if you don't.
I used to play this song on the piano in high school all the time when I was a adolescent teenage girl, so in love with Jared Pfeiffer.
I don't know who that is.
It is what it is.
He was my high school crush for 2 years.
Pfeiffer, if
Yeah,
you're out there.
and he told me, he was like, I don't think I could handle you, Courtney.
We do have a new open plan for next week, though. I'm sorry. Where were we?
Who's Courtney?
Don't leave. It's a stupid decision you're doing. Anyway.
Is it something that I did?
Yeah. So I want to hear about your movie. I just went to an Avengers screening last night.
How was that, by the way?
Did you like the first one?
I did.
You will like this one.
Okay. That seems like faint and damning praise.
Yeah.
Said enough.
I don't want to give too much away. I'm going to do a review on WCCO television on Friday for the Avengers: Age of Ultron. Who I'm a huge James Spader fan.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And he plays the villain.
How's his hairline?
He's a robot in the movie, but his voice is so awesome.
Well, it's sort of a reunion for Less Than Zero, right? The movie that he did with
because of Robert Downey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
I think that's the only time they worked together other than this. But it was the beginning of Downey's career they did that movie together.
Evidently, he did James Spader for this one because it's a huge CGI film. But he did show up on stage in the body suit to deliver his robot lines with the cast. So they probably were able to shake hands and reminisce about the Less Than Zero days.
Huh. I feel like mathematically that makes no sense.
How's that?
Less than zero.
I knew it was going there. I can't believe you guys fell into his trap.
Well,
describe your movie. What are you working on?
Oh, well, I'm working on, I guess if I had to, it's called Here There Be Monsters. and it is a buddy comedy about a man and a 6'4" puppet.
We were just talking about Harvey
and Johnny Darko.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
He just likes to steal my thunder. He goes around and does this. I don't even know why. It's just a thing that he
Guess
does.
who's also leaving, Courtney? Take me with you. Take me with you.
You're listening to the Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty only.
No, Rusty's leaving.
I'm going with you.
Oh, hey, come back, you guys.
Why did you do that sound?
I love that song.
But
a man and a relationship with an animatronic robot.
I didn't say a sexual relationship. I said a
Why?
relationship.
Everything is based on sex.
It's somewhere between, if you were to make an amalgam of Grumpy Old Men, Raising Arizona, and Evil Dead 2.
All three I love.
Yeah, right? A little bit slapsticky, a little bit dark. It's definitely an R-rated comedy.
So what's the hope then? Where is this? Where can we see this film when it's done?
Well, I would imagine that it'll be making the festival rounds. What that means exactly right now is hard to say because it's there's a whole world of politics and commerce that goes on to get it into the festival realm. But eventually VOD, Netflix, all
Have
of
you
those
been
things.
there before? Have you had other films that have gone through the festival circuit?
I've had music videos and short stuff that I've done that's gone through the festival circuit. And that's different because you're not running out through distribution. There's not the same sort of marketplace for that. Making content at a feature level, there's a lot more that you can do. I mean, all of the cable networks are hungry. Like the low-level stuff, Sci-Fi Channel, IFC, all those places. I think in a perfect world, we'd be talking about something like IFC, Midnight, or Radius. The thing you probably won't see outside of festival in a theater, but that you'll see cable, like high-end cable or Netflix, those sorts of things.
And there's a lot of directors who do small independent movies, and it gets attention by the bigger studios.
Yeah.
And they jump from a $100,000 budget movie to boom, here you go. Here's $100 million. I'm drawing blanks on some of the, but you know who I'm talking about.
Colin Trevorrow would be one. He did Safety Not Guaranteed a couple years ago, and now he's doing the new Jurassic Park movie.
Oh,
that's a big one,
Right?
Yeah.
It's a really big leap. And, you know, I mean, you sort of work your way up. I mean, that would be my hope. I would say 3-4 years, I want to be doing a Marvel movie, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That's the plan.
So how did the nuts and bolts, I don't mean to bore listeners, but so how did you get this project off the ground? What's the budget? How are you funding it?
It is, we've had a bit of crowd support, a little bit out of pocket, and a lot of in-kind. So we've got a lot of people that work in the industry that have put their time on the project against back-end points or against just supporting it because they want it to happen. So we're definitely in the sort of lower echelon of like micro-budget, $50,000 or less. But we've got a really, really dedicated crew from the ground up, so people that are giving their time to not add. So that $50,000 is basically making its way through camera, basic necessities, and we've got a really great special effects artist overseeing what we're doing, a Hollywood guy. So we've got a lot of favors on the table at this point.
A lot of people who believe in the project.
Yeah, which is really exciting.
That's what a blessing. That's so...
And a curse. Some people say, that's great. You've got like 100, if you include the people that threw money through the Indiegogo or through the crowdsourcing, probably 200 or 300 people that are helping make this thing happen. And they go, that's really great. You got 200 or 300 people sort of lifting you up. And I'm like, I sort of feel like one sled dog with 300 people on a sled behind me because there's a real sense of obligation to everybody that's helping us out.
Totally.
Wasn't it Hollywood Shuffle, the Wayne brother? They maxed out their credit cards to make that one. Have you touched your credit cards yet?
I have not touched my credit cards because I cut
Double the budget.
I cut them up 10 years ago.
Yes.
But I did take everything that I made, all of the front end that I made off the project that I just did in Sweden last year is in this. And
what was that?
I actually got my first big screenwriting gig. It's a movie called A Storm Came from Paradise. And that's a feature that's going to be going into production this September, and that'll be between Africa, Italy, Sweden, and Greece.
And you were a screenwriter for that one?
I was, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
it was an interesting project. Tell us about it.
That was really exciting for me. It's actually a really acclaimed Swedish novel that came out a couple of years ago, which is a biopic about a African fighter pilot in the 70s escaping from Idi Amin and ends up sort of traveling the globe and ends up in Sweden eventually. But it takes place over 40 years, and it's essentially it's sort of Shawshank Redemption meets Top Gun set in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's a musical.
And I tried really hard. I wanted it to be a musical.
Yeah.
But
5, 6, 7, 8, and I soar.
Idi Amin, you're so mean.
See?
It was,
We have something here.
Baltimore.
I think so, yeah.
I picture Danger Zone in Swahili. Highway to the... We did the same thing.
I was right on the same wavelength with you.
I'm gonna pitch it. I mean, it's a little late in production to make a change that big, but I think you just sold me on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are you in the schedule for this current project?
We start shooting next week.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's all last looks, tech rehearsals, everything that we have to do the last minute is.
So what is the schedule?
daunting.
What's the shooting? What's the post? When's it come out?
Well, we're shooting for 6 weeks starting next week. So we'll be done with principal photography in mid-June, and then I would imagine we'll tack on a quarter for post-production. So the hope is to be in Film Festival September, October.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Chuck, let's bring a camera to one of the sets if we can and shoot you shooting.
Yeah.
I may be
behind
there.
the scene.
I may be there. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be there. Doing that noise that I don't like so much all the time over my shoulder.
Everybody
I
hates
hate
that noise.
Yeah, it's really
won't
stop.
stop.
It's the worst.
Pretty sure that led
There's
to
only
my...
one place that I could see that thing working. It actually did probably just create an opportunity.
And that's
for
in a
you.
Foley
Tell me.
for a porn?
No, close. I was just thinking about this musical thing, and I realized I do want to make a musical, probably not about the African pilot, but what maybe are you familiar with H.P. Lovecraft?
Yeah.
I want to make a musical based on H.P. Lovecraft.
I'm surprised that hasn't been done.
You know,
Are you
And that
familiar
would
with
fit in.
Are you familiar with Walking Shadow Theater Company in town?
I'm not.
John Heimbuch and Amy Rumene, they're a married couple, and they've done. He would be a great. Well, I guess you're a writer too, but he's done some H.P. Lovecraft theater stuff. So I don't know. He might be a good person to talk to. They've done work with the Guthrie and stuff, and so
WSTC.
Evil Dead is a musical off Broadway.
Yeah,
Really? Headed to Broadway. Yeah.
I saw that. I saw the Evil Dead musical in New York when it was off Broadway, probably about 10 years ago when I was living out there, and it was shit.
Coincidentally,
that was 10 years ago. So who knows how it's changed?
Coincidentally, Evil Dead is my nickname in bed.
And the IQ drops.
Cue the fart sounds.
I have one thing to say to that.
Good morning, Baltimore. Every day's like an open door. Every night is a fantasy.
Let's send Chuck to Baltimore at about 10:05.
Oh my god!
I want to be beaten.
The cops and protesters will unite with a new and common cause.
You know, speaking of musicals, Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye, on The Avengers. Yeah. He sang on Jimmy Fallon last night. You want to hear his musical version? Of Hawkeye at the piano? Here we go.
Guy on The Avengers who sometimes gets overlooked. He's still great, but it's hard to compete with those other guys. So here now to shed light on his own strengths and abilities, to the tune of Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud, is Hawkeye.
He's got a grand piano. He actually has a good voice.
When you're on a team with the Hulk and Thor, and we're all up there on the movie screen, will people believe that I'm not quite as tough? Will anyone even notice me? Listen, I've got powers too, and they're pretty sweet.
Sounds like Tim Mahoney now.
I promise I can do so much more than just archery. I'm serious, guys. I've got a collection of scars and berets. I play trombone in a ska band. I once got to second base on my Tinder dates. My cat has got its own Instagram. I tell you now, at Mario Kart. This year I played an extra in Pop Art.
I don't know what that means.
And I can open a pickle jar. Friggin' Hawkeye. Maybe I'm as super as they are.
Anyway, pretty good job, right?
Yeah.
Avengers the musical.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Love it, love it, love it.
That's like Hawkeye's inner monologue. That was very cute. That was very, yeah.
Well, now we get to the part of the show.
I'll be your sunshine girl. I'll be your sunshine girl.
So
It's Courtney's time now.
Oh, good.
I have one thing today. Sexy things that are never actually sexy. I'm stealing this straight off of
That's one.
HelloGiggles.com, which is Zoe Deschanel's website.
Oh my God.
She
Because-
sings
Zoe
too.
Deschanel?
Zoe Deschanel.
She sings too.
She does sing, yeah. I like She and Him, which is her little group there.
It's harder to get her to stop.
But this has got this is why do you have you worked with her?
No.
Oh.
No, but everywhere she goes, she sings.
She's got her little uke and
Everywhere she goes, it's that
She's-
scene from Snow White where the birds and things fly through the windows.
Well, she's the dream manic pixie girl, right? Isn't that
What's her show?
Yeah.
She's
New
on a
Girl?
Yeah, and Prince sang on her show.
Really?
That was a
Oh.
get. Yeah.
That's cool. How's a get? Is that what they call
A
it
get.
in the industry?
Yeah. Yeah, that is. I just saw something about that. Yeah, it's a get.
What about a get? What's a get?
Wow. Okay.
Don't know about that.
So I found this article, Sexy Things That Are Never Actually Sexy, because it has Rusty's boyfriend, Scott Eastwood.
My boyfriend. But he was on the show. We interviewed him.
Yeah, that's
Scott
true.
Eastwood
We
is
did.
on this very show.
Was he a nice guy?
He was a nice
He's a
guy.
very
A
nice
little
guy.
bit of the dumb jock, but very nice. Yeah.
I saw an interview with him talking about some Scott. Was it Scott Sparks? Nicholas Sparks.
Nicholas
Yes.
Sparks.
Yeah, Nicholas
yeah.
Sparks,
The
yeah.
longest ride.
Yeah, and his description of his character sort of gave that impression, which is a little disturbing maybe when you consider the source material. He was like, I feel like it was really deep, that there's a parallel love story. I'm like, that's textbook. Come on, man, that's textbook. You haven't seen that before? Do you not watch movies?
The one thing that I had issue with Scott Eastwood was, before we get to the sexy list, he began his career and he was very open out saying, I did it myself. I did not want to use my dad's name at all. In fact, he started off using his mom's name. But then, as he was not getting roles, suddenly he became Scott Eastwood.
Yeah.
And then if you go to Google Image, he starts doing photos looking like his younger dad.
Yeah.
With the cigar and the grizzle and the cowboy. And they've even posted them side by side. I'm like, oh, change the tune there, Scott Eastwood.
I didn't even notice he was in the room. I was focused on Bree.
Yeah, his co-star was.
Well, it's also like, it's not like he was raised in captivity. People in Hollywood saw him with his dad for a long time. So either he was a young boy toy or it's one of Eastwood's kids, and they look the same. It's not that hard to do the math.
Yeah.
Well, now he's got some
Well,
roles. And
you know-
he was a very nice guy to do our show.
He was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love you, Scott.
Absolutely.
All right, it's fine. He's
Scott
my,
Eastwood's
he's my
sexy
boyfriend. Fine.
man. So there's a few things that Hello Giggles has determined that are not sexy, but are always showcased as sexy. Which one of them? Well, I'm just going to go through the list. Okay, one.
Tell me duck faces on there, please.
Horseback riding.
Whoa. Huh.
Nothing says outdoorsy up for anything raw sexiness like a giant ride up a tire. Have you guys ever ridden a horse?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes your butt hurt a lot the next day, like a lot of other sexy things.
I actually did.
A lot of other sexy things.
So would you would agree it's not sexy, or you think it is sexy?
I don't think horseback riding is not necessarily sexy. I guess it depends. Is your horse an actual horse, or is it a human wearing a horse tail?
Oh boy!
Typically, when I've ridden
We've
horse,
gone
it
into
was,
the Courtney vortex, haven't we?
Yeah, I thought it was a real horse,
Courtney-
but now that I think
the
about
Cortex.
I thought it was a real horse, but now that I think about it, it gave a great hand job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And not a hoof job.
Ah!
Car washes.
Wilbur.
Throwing horseshoes to get him
I'm
caught
sorry,
around.
Mom, if
honestly-
you're listening. I
honestly-
never have gotten a hand job.
I hate this article, so I'm moving on.
That's a
Your
great
one
story.
article.
You know what? It's already 10:24. Let's just move on to Chuck.
Okay, fine. Chuck, do you have anything?
I do. Today's all about fashion and
Oh, I love it.
two parallel articles I'm going to feature. First one, accused burglar arrested wearing warning, I do dumb things t-shirt. The 40-year-old Florida man was... give David Durham points for honesty. The 40-year-old Florida man was sporting a telling T-shirt when he was arrested Thursday in connection with a series of vehicle burglaries in Naples. It read, "Warning, I do dumb things." Deputies said one surveillance video shows Durham breaking into a car after smashing the window, while another shows him walking around a parking lot attempting to open car doors. Officers said they also saw the suspect attempting another car break-in earlier this month. And the booking photo, and I'll get it on the website. Actually, I got it on yesterday. I never got the story. "Warning, I do dumb things," and he looks exactly like you would expect.
Someone in his family gave that to him, or he just is very self-aware and said, "Yeah, I should buy that shirt."
"Merry Christmas, Uncle David. I got you a shirt. It's perfect for you. It looks so good." Yes. So, and then now the parallel out of the HuffPost is police seek shoplifting suspect who wore "won't be caught" shirt. Police think this shoplifting suspect might be getting ahead of herself, but so far neither she nor her accomplice have been caught. Security cameras at a Florida shopping mall caught the moment of a pair of suspected shoplifters allegedly walking out of the store with about $1,500 in stolen goods. One of the women's shirts has the words "won't be caught" printed in block letters on the front. And I will get this one up as well. She's quite brazen.
And incorrect.
Yeah, I think she will be. Police are asking the public to help identify the suspect. So I'll put this up on the website. If you see a woman, 5'5", 200 pounds, black female, please, Twin Cities listeners, call local law enforcement. This woman is dangerous. She needs to be caught.
She's probably still wearing the same shirt,
Yeah,
so it should be
Yeah.
easy to find her.
She should trade with that other guy. I feel like maybe they,
Yeah.
maybe that could be his alibi. In
They
court.
could have kids.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
His and hers.
He looks like a white supremacist, and she does not look too white. I'm guessing these two would not mate well.
It might not be what they want, but it's what the world needs.
I
That's
disagree.
a beautiful global story. I like that very much.
Remember the female big game hunter who took a photo on Instagram?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Ricky Gervais
Yeah.
went all upset. Well, there was a death in the big game hunting world. And
it was her?
Bill Maher, not her, a dude, because that was the other thing.
Oh.
People were upset that, hey, dudes do big game hunting too. This is so sexist to get upset just because a pretty woman does it. And it was like, no, the idea was she had a freakishly happy smile against a dead, beautiful giraffe. Could have been anyone. Well, anyway, there was a death in the big hunting world, and Bill Maher included this death in his new rules segment. Let me see if...
New rule, if you make your living stalking and killing innocent animals, as professional game hunter Ian Gibson did, and you're leading a safari to kill elephants, as Ian Gibson was, and during that safari an elephant tramples you to death, good. And by the way, we know the elephant is the nobler of the two because when the hunter wins, it's the greatest moment of his life. And when the elephant wins, it's, ew, what did I step in?
I love it. That was probably the best discussion we've had on our fan page. People really were fired up about this.
Oh, the hunting?
Yeah.
Were there two sides to it?
Well, there was some discussion. I don't have it fresh.
Some of
This
it
a
was
few weeks
because,
ago.
you're just because she's a pretty woman. That's why you're mad. And it's like, no, don't shoot giraffes.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're defending yourself against the horrible beasts.
Unless you told the giraffe to get
Those
down.
awful blue tongues.
Yeah.
Get down on the ground, giraffe. All right. Well, we got to wrap up this dog and pony show.
Yeah.
Courtney's
Yeah.
got places
Giraffe
to go,
and elephant show.
things to do.
Yeah,
How can we keep in touch with you and support you?
Well, please do, first and foremost. You can find me on the usual spaces, Facebook, both under my name, Mercies May, and also under the project's name, Here There Be Monsters. And I am, of course, on Twitter at Mercies May.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're looking for funding. I mean, if someone wants to support the local arts?
There's always, between this project and what we're doing next, there's always a need for money and support. And, I mean, in every possible way. A lot of people, I think, get turned off by the idea of asking for a huge amount of money. We like the help, too. We like hands-on. We want people involved. We want to be a community-oriented group.
Film board? Do we have one? Is it still alive?
Oh, that's a big bite to chew off at the last minute. Yeah, we have one. It doesn't really have a lot to do with projects at the sort of level we're working at. They're a lot more focused on trying to bring stuff in from out of state, which is a hard sell because the incentives we offer are a lot less than most other states.
You know what? We should actually absolutely have you back in and talk about. People don't understand that our film board is underfunded right now and has been for a while, and the politics involved and how, I guess, in this case, it doesn't help small filmmakers like you.
I will say the IRRB, we are working half out of the Iron Range in Minnesota, and Mary Somnus and the IRRB have been great for us. We've gotten a good amount of support from them. We just don't meet the criteria here in Minneapolis.
And there's a mindset that we shouldn't fund movie making in Minnesota. It's a waste of money. But the Pittsburgh and Michigans and other states, they get Avengers type movies, big budgets. Even Illinois, because they have a film board that gives tax incentives and all that stuff.
And Boston.
I don't know if they'll be filming in, but they they have a budget as well. Actually, they filmed The Wire. In Baltimore.
The Wires.
Who's on the show tomorrow?
A great show. Tomorrow we have. Oh my God, I can't even remember what is tomorrow. Oh, Joe Bozick. Joe Bozick is a local. He was at the Brave New Workshop on their main stage forever. He just actually released a book of poetry. Nice. So he's a local comedian and poet, and he will be on an improviser. He's a brilliant improviser.
We then need to improvise tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, and
get ready.
The lovely Miss Shannon Paul will be making a pop in as well.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow?
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. And it's Courtney's second to last show. Whatevs. All right. Twin Cities Hit Show.
Twin Cities Hit Show. Twin Cities Hit Show.
Twin Cities Hit Show.
Rats on the street all dance around my feet. They seem to say, Tracy, it's up to you. So, don't hold me back, 'cause today all my dreams will come true. Good morning.
It's over. The hit show is over. You've been listening to the Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck. Now go home, unless you're already home.